And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday on Spreaker Radio, Roar, 1776 Radio, and MyCast Live Radio from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time, and also on 405 Media Radio every Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific Time, in addition to countless terrestrial stations worldwide. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, Podomatic, and YouTube, where you can listen to my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day simply by clicking on that little icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com is where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. And you can call into my show if you want to comment or just engage me in conversation about anything. Call directly into the studio at area code 909-545-6516. Again, that number, 909-545-6516. Now, in today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. And then on today's special segments, Sean Lefebvre is going to be here talking about healthcare and osteoporosis and the things that you can do to not only, maybe not eliminate it, but to stop it and maybe even improve it. And our own Suzette Mailer will be here talking about the environment. She's a journalist renowned. But before we do that, I want you to stand by for news. But before we do that, I want you to know that at 3:03 p.m. Pacific Time, it is currently 80 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what? I want to do the news, but I want to capsulate this news a little bit for you so that you can get an idea of many of the things that are going to be going on in the world today so that we can actually discuss them in a little more depth a little later on. But the 10 things that you need to know for today, Tuesday and Wednesday, tomorrow for that matter, your daily look at late breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that'll be talked about today and tomorrow. First off, whom Canadians elect to run the government? Well, Justin Trudeau, the son of late Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau, becomes Canada's new Prime Minister after his Liberal Party won a majority of Parliament's 338 seats. He's just 43 years old. And where the death of migrants has triggered national soul-searching after an Eritrean was killed after being mistaken for an attacker, Israelis reflect on how they are reacting to recent Palestinian violence. And Oscar Pistorius put under house arrest. The double amputee Olympic runner who fatally shot his girlfriend on Valentine's Day 2013 had been in prison in Pretoria, the South African capital. Now, he spent 1 year in prison, and he's going to spend the next 3, I think it is, in house arrest at his mansion, his uncle's mansion. And migrants no longer stuck in Serbia move into Croatia. They leave behind a field scattered with soaked blankets, mud-caked clothing, and waterlogged tents after authorities eased restrictions. And aging mobster on trial for a heist dramatized in the movie Goodfellas. Yep. Vincent Asaro is accused of being involved in the $6 million Lufthansa holdup in 1978, a legendary theft dramatized in the hit film. And Pope's summit on family issues not likely to change the doctrine on homosexuality or divorce. However, things have definitely evolved. African bishops play a bigger role, and calls have surfaced to stop calling gays intrinsically disordered. When states' cybersecurity suffered, the State Department was among the worst government agencies at protecting its computer networks, while Hillary Clinton was secretary from 2009 to 2013, the Associated Press finds. And Ohio delays executions until at least 2017. The state has run out of supplies of lethal injection drugs and has failed to find new ones, including from overseas. And United Airlines names a new acting CEO. The company's general counsel, Brett J. Hart, will take over for Oscar Munoz, who suffered a heart attack about a month into his job. And finally, charity event in Alaska will not be called a slave auction anymore. Organizers say the activity where people bid for volunteers will change its name after the NAACP complained. You know what? And I understand it. It's everything now is a matter of being politically correct. And we'll see what happens. Well, let's get a little bit more in-depth. Let's give you an idea of what's going on. The United Kingdom rolls out the red carpet for China's Xi on contentious visit that he made. China's leader quoted Chinese proverbs and William Shakespeare, while Britain's prime minister hailed a golden age between the two nations as a state visit festooned with regal pomp and pageantry was shadowed by concerns about national security, human rights, and economic rivalry. President Xi Jinping's trip, years in the making, aimed at to cement deals giving Britain a vast new pool of investment in China's greater access to European markets. But as Xi was welcomed today as an honored guest at Buckingham Palace and Parliament, critics warned that Britain was taking a risk by courting Beijing so aggressively. If you act like a panting puppy, the object of your attention is going to think that they have got you on a leash. James McGregor, a China expert at consulting from APCO, told the BBC. Some British politicians, business people, and union members are alarmed by growing Chinese investment in key sectors of the British economy, including nuclear power, and by Chinese competition in areas such as steel production. And hundreds of United Kingdom steel layoffs were announced today, the first full day of Xi's 4-day visit in a crisis that manufacturers blame on China's selling steel at a loss on world markets to secure its own market share. Prime Minister David Cameron is under pressure to confront Xi about the steel industry and human rights, but China's leader was welcomed to London with lavish tradition and military pomp, a genre at which both Britain and China excel. Now, do not go away because we have to take a short break. But when we come back, we're going to talk about Russia and the United States sign a deal to minimize the risks in the Syrian skies. And I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away. We'll be right back, folks.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Well, I told you I was going to tell you about Russia and the United States signing a deal to minimize risks in the Syrian skies. Well, the United States and Russia put into practice today new rules designed to minimize the risk of air collisions between Russian and United States-led coalition aircraft over Syria. A Russian defense official in Moscow said the memorandum of understanding suggests a potential for U.S.-Russian counterterrorism cooperation, but U.S. officials said it was a narrow arrangement that does not lessen Washington's concern about the Russian military campaign in Syria. There is no plan to establish zones of cooperation in the parallel air campaigns or to share intelligence or target information in Syria, Pentagon spokesman Peter Cook said. The Pentagon has cited several instances where Russian aircraft came too close to U.S. warplanes over Syria in recent weeks. More broadly, Washington has complained that instead of hitting Islamic State fighters, Russian airstrikes are mostly targeting rebel forces fighting the Syrian government. Russia also deployed ground troops and land-based weaponry, including multiple launch rocket systems in support of the Syrian government. The arrangement announced today does nothing to assuage our concerns about Russian military activities in Syria, State Department spokesman John Kirby said. And also moving on with the news, we were talking about Canada and the new prime minister. Well, Canada is going to return to its honest broker rule under Trudeau. This just came in not 20 minutes ago. The stunning victory of Justin Trudeau will have reverberations beyond Canada's borders after the Liberal Party leader emphatically put an end to a decade of rule by the most conservative leadership in the country's history. Among the areas in which Trudeau differs from his predecessor, conservative Stephen Harper airstrikes against the Islamic State group, support for Israel, climate change, immigration, and how much relations with the U.S. should hinge on the future of the Keystone XL pipeline. Well, speaking at a rally in Ottawa today, the 43-year-old Trudeau, son of one of the country's most dynamic politicians, underlined the sea change. I want to say this to this country's friends around the world. Many of you have worried that Canada has lost its compassionate and constructive voice in the world over the past 10 years. Well, I have a simple message for you on behalf of 35 million Canadians. We're back, he declared. With Trudeau's decisive victory yesterday, Canadian voters reclaimed their country's liberal identity, giving the new prime minister a commanding majority in Parliament that will allow him to govern without relying on other parties. Well, that sound, boy, couldn't we use that in the United States? Boy, I would say so, right? Just think about it. Wouldn't it be fantastic? Well, all about Ivanka, Trump's daughter, muse and deal maker. 6-year-old Ivanka Trump was furious she'd gotten a Barbie for Christmas while her two brothers got Legos and an erector set. She grabbed some super glue, locked the bathroom door, and built an unbreakable Lego model of Trump Tower. My father, in scolding me, was never so proud, she recounted years later. That headstrong little girl is now a trusted political advisor to her father and a willowy walking advertisement for her own line of jewelry, clothing, shoes, and more, as well as a power player in the Trump real estate empire. She's the rare executive vice president whose skill set includes an ability to walk the job on a construction site in stilettos. If you do so, she once warned, you better be able to walk without too much drama around it. Her father, by contrast, is the very definition of drama. In his presidential campaign, with his 3 marriages and in his brash approach to life. Ivanka Trump's speech is as measured as her father's is unrestrained. Her Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest accounts project an curated image that is equal parts fashionista, doting mother, corporate deal maker, and cheerleader for her hashtagged cause at Women Who Work. Sometimes she achieves harmonic convergence. Well, good for you. She is not only is she a beautiful lady, she is one smart cookie. Yeah, she sure is. You got to give her credit for it. And Slovenia deploys troops to the border as migrant exodus swells. Led by riot police on horseback, thousands of weary migrants marched across Western Balkans borderlands as far as the eye could see today, as authorities cautiously lowered barriers and intensified efforts to cope with a human tide unseen in Europe since World War II. Leaders of Slovenia deployed military units to support police on their overwhelmed southern border with Croatia, which delivered more than 6,000 asylum seekers by train and bus to the frontier in bitterly disputed circumstances between the former Yugoslav rivals. With far too few buses available in Slovenia to cope, most people walked 15 kilometers, about 10 miles, on rural lanes past cornfields and pastures to reach a refugee camp, a challenge eased by sunny weather after days of torrential rain, fog, and frigid winds. Wow. These people just seem to have to endure one challenge after another. Let's hope that they make it and everything works well. And mediators face an uphill battle in the Israeli-Palestinian morass. A surprise Mideast mediation effort by UN Chief Ban Ki-moon underscores the world community's desire to stamp out the new flare-up of Israeli-Palestinian violence, but diplomacy faces an uphill battle with both sides deadlocked on the big issues and the current leaders being dragged along. The United States and Jordan could prove especially important in determining whether the bloodshed will subside. The U.S. may be called upon to push for new talks, and the Jordanians can calm the atmosphere by negotiating with both sides about the Jerusalem holy sites over which they are the recognized custodians. Much depends on giving the Palestinians a sense of some success, perhaps even hope for a fundamental change, while enabling Israelis to avoid feeling that they have bowed before terrorism. Here's a look at where things actually could go. Will the U.S. step in? There's a sense among observers that the United States administration would like to wash its hands of the Israeli-Palestinian conundrum. For 9 months, ending in early 2014, Secretary of State John Kerry focused on a mediation effort that most locals considered to be not serious. The efforts indeed failed, and some consider it took valuable attention away from the meltdown in Syria and Iraq. On top of that, President Barack Obama has had to endure an extraordinarily heated campaign against his nuclear deal with Iran and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who even advocated against it in a March speech to Congress, a truly unprecedented affair. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, I'm going to talk to you about my favorite subject, the IRS loses. And the first case up, a business deduction for a family medical expense. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away, because I'll come get you.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh, yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. Just sends chills up and down my spine, even though it's about 80 degrees outside here. But let's get right into it. It's the IRS loses. In the first case, business deduction for family medical expenses. You're going to love this, especially if you're self-employed. Ralph Fram was self-employed as the owner of a business with one employee, his wife. He had an adopted employee benefit plan providing medical insurance covering its employees and their families, including him as the spouse of an employee. The IRS objected. This is their objection. The business could deduct only the part of the premiums covering his wife's medical expenses and not his. So he went to court for some justice. This is what the judge said. Such medical coverage is a common business expense and is deductible by self-employeds the same way that it is by other businesses. And here's the point. Greater tax benefits, such as reduced self-employment tax, may result from a business expense deduction for medical insurance than from the normal deduction for the actual salary itself. So think about that on the medical expense. It's really it's a great way to do it. You just got to do it right. So always use your licensed professional to help you with it. And here's a case the IRS lost. Penalties are lifted on the misvaluation of stock. Here's the story. When Hotels.com, we've all heard of them, paid stock compensation to key employees, it put a high value on their shares for a large deduction, while the employees reported a lower value, reducing their taxable income. A court upheld the lower value, and the IRS imposed penalties on Hotels.com for overvaluing the stock and underpaying tax as a result. They went to court. This is what the judge said. The fact that there was a dispute with the employees over the valuation did not mean that the company's valuation was unreasonable. It had followed the advice of outside experts when it filed its return, and failure to file an amended return cannot support a negligence penalty. So the penalties are lifted. And just so you'll know, that negligence penalty is 25% of the tax owed. It's a big deal, guys. Big thing. Let me give you another one. The IRS loses. Tax collection actions after bankruptcy are void. Makes sense, right? Well, listen to this. A company went broke owing trust fund employment taxes and declared bankruptcy. Its owner declared personal bankruptcy. The IRS then sent her a Form 2751, that's proposed assessment of trust fund recovery penalty, which she actually signed, acknowledging that she owed the tax. Now, using this, the IRS started collection and levy actions against her. She protested, went to court. This is what the judge said. A declaration of bankruptcy automatically stays all IRS collection actions, and the fact that the IRS sent the form violated the stay. Moreover, the violation means that the form is void. The IRS can never act on it again, rather than merely voidable or suspended during the bankruptcy. Now, you have got to love that kind of stuff. You have just got to love it. The IRS constantly tries to get away with stuff they would never, ever let you get away with. Now, you've heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff. Well, that's what we're talking about right now when we talk about inside the IRS. Oh, yeah. Now, here's the thing. The IRS, this is not really a tax court case. These are just decisions that the IRS has actually made over time, and they've set precedents with it. And you can use these precedents to help yourself in many, many instances, in many, many cases. Because the IRS, how are they going to defend? Hey, you did it over here. You can't change your mind now in the middle of the game, right? Here's what happens if you're arrested by the IRS. Now, many times, a grand jury will be presented with the aspects of a case as portrayed by the government attorney. An indictment will be issued, and an arrest warrant will be executed. Now, the IRS special agent will show up at your home or place of business and inform you that you are under arrest. You'll then be handcuffed and transported to a federal district courthouse for processing, fingerprinting, and mugshot and a bail hearing. The entire process takes about a day, and if you have no prior criminal convictions, bail will be set and you'll probably be able to go home that night. In more complicated cases, you might have to stay overnight in jail until a bail package can be negotiated with the assistant U.S. attorney assigned to your case. But be careful. During the car ride to the courthouse, the special agents are going to encourage you to make incriminating statements. Be polite, but tell them that you don't want to talk to them until you have met with your attorney. Do not ever, ever, ever talk to anybody before you've talked to an attorney, especially I mean, especially at that federal level. Matter of fact, in any case, I don't care what you get stopped for. Anytime an attorney wants to talk to you, anytime you're going to be in a deposition, anytime you're going to be in court, always, regardless of the circumstances, do not do it without an attorney. That's just the way it has to be. Do not do it without an attorney. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to be talking to our own Sean Lefebvre in his Geared for Wellness corner, and we're talking about osteoporosis today. We're talking about what you can and can't do, and I'm especially going to listen to him because I happen to be the bearer of that disease. I guess you could call it a disease. He'll tell me a little bit later. But the truth is that it seems to be something that's manageable as long as you're prudent and you take care of yourself. We'll see what Sean has to say right after these brief messages. Do not go away. We'll be right back, folks.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:34 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 80 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, my good buddy Sean Lefebvre is waiting in the wings. He's going to be talking about osteoporosis today. By the time he's done, we'll know all you need to know about osteoporosis. I'm especially interested since I actually have that ailment. But let me introduce him properly and get him in here so we can start talking.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean Lefebvre, in his Geared for Wellness corner.
Hey, Sean, welcome aboard. Here we are, another week. Last week we were talking about, or we just barely skimmed the subject of osteoporosis, and you said you were going to dig in and find out all about it. I'm anxious to find out all about it. Seems to me that it's something that's easily managed, but I'm dying to find out what your play is on this.
Yeah, actually the cool part is it really is easily managed, and obviously when you get to the point where once you've got osteoporosis or osteopenia, you need to kind of try to get ahead of the curve a little bit and take some steps to reverse that and strengthen those bones back up. But once you get there, it's much easier to keep the bones solid than it is to obviously repair them. So, nutritionally speaking and physically speaking with exercise and those types of things, there's a lot of things that can be done. And so, we'll just jump right into that. Of course, unless you have something else you want to talk about.
Well, you know what? You know what? I'm because this is a subject that I want to learn more about. Normally, I'd be throwing you, curveballs about this time, and but I really want to learn from you. I want to learn from you twice a week. But basically, this is a subject that I'm really kind of interested in, since I'm involved in it. I was surprised to find out that I had early osteoporosis. Not early, I'm 70 years old, but basically I was a little surprised, taken back by it. It kind of bothered me a little bit, and then I found out, well, you know what? Men, when they reach 70, it's pretty normal to be in these stages of osteoporosis. And then I felt better because they said, hey, this is a manageable thing. This is nothing that's going to be a big deal for you. You just got to do what we tell you to do. And so why don't you take us through that program, Sean, about the good, the bad, and the ugly of osteoporosis?
Okay, well, obviously, I don't know if there's anything good about osteoporosis, but I guess the good thing about osteoporosis is it kind of lets you know where you've been neglecting your body and where you need to make some improvements. So there's that. But obviously, for those who aren't familiar with osteoporosis, it's basically just a bone density issue. Your bone becomes less dense. It has areas that don't build up and aren't as thick as they should be and as strong as they should be, and that's where you get when a person gets to the point where they're elderly and they fall down and they fracture a hip or they fracture an arm or something like that, and the process to heal is much longer at that point because there's so much damage. The damage was already there. Now it's just broken. And so it's a huge, in fact, my own dad, before he died, about a year before he died, he fell and broke his hip. And they say that's one of the things, when a person who's just frail and weak and elderly, when they fall and break their hip, that's kind of like the first stage of you don't have a lot longer time left.
So let's explore that for just a second, because and I've heard that story many times. I've actually witnessed it with relatives of my own who are now gone. I had a couple of relatives that, as they got older, they suffered from osteoporosis. And you're right. I mean, they'd fall, they'd break a hip, they'd break, do something like that. And because they're elderly and they were now non-ambulatory, and they had broken their hip, and it took so much longer to heal, they couldn't get up, they couldn't move around. They developed pneumonia as a result of that, and it was the pneumonia that wound up taking them.
Yeah, they just, their whole system. Once that happens, once a hip is broken or something that creates that type of issue, they're just, they're non-mobile anymore. You're right. The lymphatics are no longer getting stimulated. Your circulatory system is no longer as active as it was, and so your immune system starts to break down. And what they do, like with my dad, when he broke his hip, they don't even set them if I broke my hip, for instance, they would set it, they let the bones heal or something like that. Well, now when he was in his 80s, they just screw it all together, put a metal plate in there, and call it good, because they go, it's never going to heal anyway, and we just want to get you to the point where hopefully you can get moving again. Unfortunately, he also broke his collarbone, which made it physically unbearable for him.
So is that a fact that when you are elderly and you do have osteoporosis, if you break a hip, that they're really not going to repair it the way they normally would, because they're at least in their opinions, and you're going to tell me whether it's fact or fiction, it's not going to heal anyway? Because I think in terms of, I know some people that I'm not going to call them elderly, but they were in their 70s, and they would have hip replacements. And be good as new at the end of this thing. There must be at some point where surgery is no longer an option, huh?
Right, and there is a, and that, I know with my own dad that was the case. His body was so weak that, there is a point. There's a tipping point in everything in life, and when it comes to, when a person is elderly and they're frail and they've got advanced osteoporosis, that the bones just aren't going to heal. It will take so long for that bone to heal that there's no point in trying to heal it in a traditional method. You just, like I said, put plates and screws in and everything, just hold it back together, let metal do the work for you. And so, it's a tough way to go, but I think that there is a point where the bones just really aren't going to heal, and that's why they do it that way.
So now the people that are in those situations where the bones are not going to heal, is it because they did develop osteoporosis and did not take the procedures? They didn't take the vitamin D or the calcium or the whatever the heck those other drugs are?
Right, that's it. And, the osteoporosis, it's funny because osteoporosis, years and years ago, it was it really was never diagnosed as a disease. It was just osteoporosis was, okay, basically if you can break your bone with minimal impact, it didn't take a lot of impact. You didn't have to get in a car accident or, fall off of a roof or something like that. That there's just a normal slip and fall would break a leg. Well, then they go, you probably got osteoporosis.
Is that what people would have when they would describe themselves as having brittle bones?
Yeah, exactly. That would be a form of osteoporosis. That's osteoporosis. So, I believe that the when it came down to attaching a disease name to it, or classifying it as a disease, was really when they knew that they could treat it with drugs. And typically, whenever the pharmaceutical companies come out with a drug, they have to have a disease to be able to treat, and so they tend to create diseases where there really aren't diseases. And osteoporosis is not really a disease. It's more of it's a malnutrition is what it is. It's your body not utilizing calcium to build bones, and it's not utilizing.
It's part of the it's a result of the aging process, right? But it's something that can be
I just had a radio turn on, and I have no idea why. That was the strangest thing I'd ever seen. That was weird. Sorry about that.
I'm sorry. What happened?
I had a radio that just turned on all by itself. I don't know if there's a timer built into it.
Somebody wants to hear the show.
Somebody wants to listen to country music. But
so isn't it? But osteoporosis is whether you want to call it a disease or whatever it is. It's a process that starts because as you age, the physiology is no longer able to function the way it normally would, and so things start.
And that's where it becomes classified as disease. The physiology is not able. The physiology is able to perform even as you age.
Mm-hmm.
The osteoporosis is not. It's more associated with people as they get older. But there are people who are young, 30 years old, who have osteoporosis.
Oh, really?
So osteoporosis is really the body is not creating the bone density that it should. And usually that's because it's either not getting the tools that it needs, in this case calcium, or it's not getting a reason. And that's, I think, is the part of the equation that a lot of people forget about is, your body, it's pretty awesome the way it operates. And it wants everything to be effective and to be in a balance, a state of balance, and stasis, as they say. But you've got to give it a reason. Just taking calcium supplements and not being active isn't really going to help you create strong bones. You've got to give the bones a reason to strengthen. They will fortify themselves according to, like, if they're taking impact, from like running. Like I was talking about last week, a runner's femur bone is thicker than a swimmer's femur bone. So the swimmers out there, and they're actually swimming is physically probably more demanding than running is.
So what you're saying then is that a person who has osteoporosis can reverse all of that and can strengthen their bones back up, or the bone density back up, but they not only have to take supplements of calcium and vitamin D, I guess helps you absorb that calcium, but they also have to exercise to strengthen those bones up, because if you don't exercise, the bones have no reason to change the way they are.
Right, exactly. And that's where, impact type exercises like jump roping and running help. And for a person who maybe wants to speed up the process, and this is something that I've used in my clinic before, and I think is really just an awesome tool, is there's little platforms you can buy. There's all kinds of different ones that are available out there.
Oh, the step stool thing?
Well, they're like a whole body. They're like a vibration platform that you stand on, and the whole thing vibrates.
Oh.
And you can buy ones that vibrate that you can adjust the frequency, and you can adjust the amplitude. So it's a mild vibration, but the frequency is still the same, or you can increase the intensity of it, as they call the amplitude. And what that does is, it's funny, I had these in my clinic, and a friend of mine who was a raw food chef, she came over, and I said, you got to see these things about. They're so awesome. They do this, they do that. And I showed her this list. I'm like, because we had a little thing up and we showed our patients, like, there's a list of all the benefits of standing on the standing vibration machine. And she goes, so it's basically just like the same benefits you get from exercising. I said, yeah, exactly. But you can stand on this thing for 10 minutes, like say, 3 or 4 times a week. Mm-hmm. And what it does is it's these mini vibrations that vibrates at around, depending on how you want to set it, 30 to 40 hertz. Mm-hmm. And what that does is it creates all these little, it only moves, a couple millimeters back and forth. So it's not like a big vibration. But what it does is it creates a whole bunch of really rapid little tiny impacts. And it actually increases bone density. And in fact, I used to go to a lot of seminars and do a lot of training with a guy named Dr. Dennis Logan. And this guy is incredible. He corrects scoliosis.
Okay, so let's hang on there for a second with Dr. Dennis Logan, because we have to take a commercial break, and I'm thinking you're getting ready to. It's time for you to take a breath and try and get some oxygen back into your system. When we come back, I'd like to go back into. Do you need to have a strenuous exercise? Is it better than what you're talking about with with this vibration exercise? And I'd also like you to talk a little bit about why it's necessary, if you are on a modality for osteoporosis. It's not only important that you take the main drug, but that you take the calcium and the vitamin D, and why that's important. So let's talk about that when we come.
Yeah, I was going to do that anyway, but perfect.
Okay, so we'll talk about that when we come back. We're talking to our own Sean LaFave in the Geared for Wellness corner. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Sean LaFave at the Geared for Wellness Corner. We're talking about osteoporosis. And, when we left, you were going to talk to us about, and I forgot the doctor's name. But I'm going to let you pick it up from there, Sean.
Yeah, so it's Dr. Dennis Wogan. He's up in St. Cloud, Minnesota, and he's got this clinic that he does scoliosis correction, and people come from all over the world to visit his clinic, and he's the best in the world. And he does it without surgery, and it's absolutely amazing. But he uses this vibration therapy in what he does with scoliosis correction. But I went to one of his classes, and he had actually broken his foot, and it takes 6 weeks to heal a bone, and he x-rayed his foot, and he would put his foot on this vibrating stand every day. I think he did it twice a day, as a matter of fact. And because it stimulates bone growth so much, his foot was healed in like 2 weeks.
Wow.
So
it doesn't have to be strenuous.
No, it's not. That's the thing is you literally just stand on this thing for 10 minutes while it's vibrating. And now you have to be careful when you do so. For those who get one, you want to make sure you have good posture, because what it does is it actually relaxes the soft tissues and everything else as it's increasing, and it actually increases muscle density too. These things are incredible. There's studies. I've been using these things for years, but I was looking at studies just to kind of give you some stats if you really wanted them.
Well, yeah, but rumor has it you've been sitting on that machine.
Yeah, well, yeah. There are some who do. But you got to have good posture, because what it'll do is if you're slumped over and you're kind of hunched over while you're standing on it, it actually induces that type of posture more for long run. So as you stand on it with good posture, it actually helps solidify that good posture of yours. But anyway, so it helps. They've shown that over a period of time that it not only increases bone density, but it makes the bones more they're stronger bones as well, not just denser but stronger, and it also increases muscle density and soft tissue recovery and those types of things, the supportive tissue around the bone. And that's the thing with the you were talking about taking the medication as well as the supplements. I am personally not a fan of the medications that they give for osteoporosis, for the simple fact that what they do is you have osteoblasts, and an osteoblast is a cell that creates new bone structures. It's a cell that creates a little matrix that goes into the bone, and it sets it onto the bone, and it hardens onto the bone. It's a crazy process. And then you have osteoclasts, which actually tear down the bone structure. It removes the old bone cells. It gets rid of them. And the osteoporosis meds, what they do is they prevent that from happening. They prevent those osteoclasts from taking away old bone mineral, old bone material. And so what you've done now is you created a bone that does have more density, but it's made up of an older, more brittle bone. And so what it does is it loses its flexibility. And the best analogy that I could come up with is if you went up to a tree that was dead and you grabbed a branch on it and pulled, it would just snap off because it's just rigid. It doesn't bend. Mm-hmm. Or if you go to a tree that's alive and it's got green wood and it's a lot of leaves and you grab a branch, that branch will flex and bend, and it's really hard to break that branch because it's strong enough to bend, as they say. And so what happens with these osteoporosis meds is, yes, you do get denser bones, but you also get more brittle bones, and they actually can lead to more bone fractures. And so it's really a double-edged sword. It's really not in the big picture preventing what you want to prevent. Matter of fact,
okay, then from a holistic point of view, you're now in opposition to what the medical science has said to do, and you have another modality that you think is more appropriate for osteoporosis. And what is that? What I would do is I would get on a protocol of course, you want to take a good calcium. You want to take the calcium you want is a calcium malate or malate citrate. It's called a citrate malate. However, some people put those two words around because there's several different forms of calcium, but a calcium citrate malate is the one that tends to be the most bioavailable. It's the one that your body absorbs. It's the one that your body most effectively uses as a building material. So you want to get the right kind of calcium. But you also need things like vitamin D, and like I talked about last week, there needs to be vitamin D3, and that's D like D. Now you're taking the calcium. Why do you need the vitamin D3? Vitamin D3 is, first of all, most people are deficient in vitamin D3 to start with, but the vitamin D3 helps transport the calcium into the bones, and so you want to they work synergistically together. So vitamin D3 is like a vehicle that lets that calcium get into the bones.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's like there's a lot of nutritional, there's a lot of vitamins out there that work in conjunction with other vitamins, and when you're deficient in one, the other one won't work. There are people out there, like I talked about, you can give someone calcium all day long and their bones just won't get denser, or they'll still have a calcium deficiency. One, because they don't have their body hasn't been stimulated enough to build new bones, and also their body, the calcium that they got isn't bioavailable. It doesn't have the other nutrients that it needs to push it along into the system to make it bioavailable so the body can use it to construct new bones.
Okay, so let's ask another question, because this would be the proper time to ask that. Then it must obviously make a difference between whether you're using a synthetic vitamin or a natural vitamin. I'm guessing you're going to let me know what the difference between those two are.
Oh, well, yeah, the only case that I can really think of where synthetic is just about as good as natural is vitamin C. The synthetic vitamin C they make tends to work pretty well as an antioxidant, but in almost every other case, a natural is always the best. Obviously, you can get it from a food source, from eating things like green leafy vegetables, eating sardines with the bones in it, salmon, those types of things. Milk is not really a good, so we talked about that last week. Milk is just not a good source of calcium. But if you can get it from a whole food, that's the best way. Obviously, if you're going to buy it in a supplement, make sure it came from a whole food source. Before it was put in that pill, you don't want to use a calcium that comes from oyster shells. You don't want to use calcium citrate. You want to use calcium, like I said, not citrate. Citrate and malate is the one you want. You don't want to use calcium lactate, for instance. Mm-hmm. So you use a good quality. Make sure it comes from the right source. And if it says calcium citrate malate, or sometimes it'll say calcium malate citrate, either way, as long as it has those two in there, then you've got a good source. And so those are usually natural sources. Those are the best.
So let me ask you this, because it's kind of off the subject, but it's a short question, and that is that would you recommend for someone who's going to take supplements, regardless of what those supplements are, that they purchase them in a health food store as opposed to a drugstore?
Actually, I would recommend that they purchase them from a physician, someone like a nutritionist or someone who, and I'm not, medical doctors don't tend to delve into nutrition a lot, so I even would stay away from medical doctors for that. There are some who I know medical doctors who do nutrition. They're very good at it, but I would make sure whoever you're getting it from that it's something that's only available through a physician's office. Some of the stuff you can get through health food stores like Whole Foods it can be good. I would always stay away from anything that would come from a grocery store or a drugstore or Costco or Walmart or Target or anything, because those have been absolutely proven to be worthless. To be honest with you, I've actually seen X-rays of people who take, like either Centrum or one-a-day type vitamins like those, and you X-ray them in their abdominal area, and you can see the pill still whole, intact in their intestinal tract. And so a lot of this stuff you can't even break it down at all. You just poop it out, and so you get nothing from it. But even the ones that are made from that you buy in a grocery store or at a Walmart or something like that, or a drugstore, the quality is so low you get almost no benefit from it. So always try to go with something that is only available through a physician. That's when you know you're getting a high quality product.
So if there is such a large disparity in the efficacy of supplements like this, it would seem to me it would be in the general public's best interest to not let the mass merchandisers even have access to this stuff.
Yeah, I agree with you, but it's a free market system. It's not FDA regulated, which we in this industry like the fact that it's not FDA regulated. As a person who's a firm believer in economics, that that people need to have informed consent, and that they should be able to make their own choices. And if they want to buy stuff that's cheap, they want to believe the marketing and not do their own due diligence, their own research. That's their choice. I don't agree with it. But yeah, it'd be nice if we could. But once you tell a certain segment of the population you can't do this, now it becomes regulated by the government, and then you've got all kinds of other issues.
Well, yeah, but isn't the premise of the FDA the fact that the FDA only governs those things that you put in your body that have a physiological effect on your body, and if it doesn't, they don't bother with it, and so they're not bothering with vitamin supplements? Is it because the FDA doesn't agree that supplements do you any good at all?
It's not that they don't agree to that. In order for you to market something as a nutritional supplement, it has to either be something that your body can produce on its own, like glutathione, for instance, or it can be something that you get from a food source, whether it's an animal or plant-based source, like vitamin B12 or whatever else. All the vitamin Bs pretty much. So if it's something you can either find in your natural diet, or if it's something that your body will naturally produce, then it can be sold as a nutritional supplement, and it's really more like a food at that point. So now you're regulating, the FDA, in my opinion, should regulate food more than they do. You can buy apples that are almost void of nutrition nowadays because they're so modified, they're so genetically modified that all the pesticides, and they're grown so fast that they're worthless. They taste good and they look pretty, but nutritionally speaking, they're empty.
So let me ask you. So let me ask you this. Now, for somebody who's taking a large dose of the vitamin D, because you said most people are deficient in vitamin D or D3, and you said that one of the places they can get that is outside by getting to the sun. Your skin photosynthesizes the sun and turns it into vitamin D3. Can you get an overdose? So if you're taking vitamin D3 and then you go out in the sun too, can you get overdosed in vitamin D3?
I would imagine you can overdose on almost anything, but I have never heard of anyone overdosing on vitamin 3. I'm sure there probably has been someone who has, but it's really, really hard to do. Matter of fact, I've seen, I've had patients or clients that have been on a vitamin. They've been going outside in the sun, getting sun. They've been on a vitamin D supplement, and they're still deficient in vitamin D. And that boils down to, you've also got to make sure that you've got, vitamin K and vitamin A along with it to help transport it into the body.
Okay, so that's it. We can't go through the alphabet because we are now out of time. What I want to know about is what you're going to talk to me about on Thursday.
Well, I think we can continue talking about this if you want, but we can go back to what I was going to talk about last week that never got on, and that is, I'm going to let you choose. We can either continue talking about osteoporosis, and I'll let you choose on Thursday, or we can go into the overdiagnosis of cancer.
I want to go into the overdiagnosis of cancer. I think we've exhausted osteoporosis. We've been talking to our own Sean Lefebvre and his Geared for Wellness Corner. Sean, fantastic. Thank you so much for all the research you did. You're my go-to guy when it comes to this kind of stuff. There's no one I trust like I trust you.
Well, thanks, Ralph. I appreciate that, and it's always fun being on your show. I have such a great time.
Okay, buddy. So you have a great couple of days, and we'll talk to you on Thursday.
All right, thanks, Robert. Talk to you soon.
All right. Now, don't go away. When we come back, we're going to be with our own Suzette Mailer, and I think she's going to be talking about the environment. I'm not really sure. We'll see when she gets back in here what surprises she has in store for us. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:08 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 80 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, she's waiting in the wings. My favorite gal, Suzette Mailer's here. And Suzette, welcome aboard. Good to have you here on a nice sunny Tuesday afternoon.
Well, thank you so much.
So listen,
nice to be here.
I always ask you, and I feel a little odd sometimes asking you what the temperature is where you're at, because I know you live out by the ocean in good old Long Beach, and it's 80 degrees. It was 81 here today. It's 80 degrees now. What's it like where you're at?
Well, the temperature is pleasant. It's perfect. I have no idea what the numbers are, but it's very nice. And just a little hazy out. I don't know. What do you think that haze is from? Is that from fire?
Well, you know what? I don't know. It could very well be. You know, one of the things I was going to ask you is, you know, because you live in such a beautiful area, do you generally leave your doors and windows kind of open to take advantage of that beautiful fresh air, the ocean breeze and stuff?
Now, Robert, if I admit that on the air, I might get robbed.
I'm not going to tell them where you live.
But yes.
So, listen, what do we have on the agenda for today, Suzette?
Well, this is really interesting. I pose the question, can fossil-based plastics be completely substituted by bio-based plastics?
Okay, so now before we can actually answer a question like that, we need to know the difference between the two.
That's right, we do. So, and my answer in all my research is as follows. Understanding the world of bioplastics versus fossil-based plastics is a labyrinth of pros and cons that ultimately leads to this conclusion. And yes, I did read that. Humans cannot continue to use plastics without an end-of-use plan. And generally speaking, we don't have one. And Tom Zasky is a founder and CEO of TerraCycle, which is they create sustainable plastic. And he said we cannot continue to indulge ourselves in plastic. And then another...
but that doesn't explain to me the difference between a fossil-based plastic and
okay. Well, you know, it really, of course, fossil... Okay, so let me...
I'm guessing a fossil-based plastic is a petrochemical made from oil, right? Like plastic bags and plastic cups and things like that.
Exactly.
And then, but with the bioplastic, what is that?
Bioplastic materials are made from corn, sugarcane, algae.
So it'll break down.
Well, you know, not necessarily.
Oh.
It is not a function of that. It is a function of its chemical chain. That is, I mean, even fossil fuel will break down. Fossil-based plastics will break down. It's just it depends on its chemical makeup.
I see. But one could, and maybe over a lesser amount of time, and the other never will. Would that be the case?
Yeah, it depends. You know, it can take 400 to 1,000 years for one, and in other cases, you know, you need a industrial format to break down these.
And we need a place to dump it other than the ocean.
We do. We do. You know, this conversation here is about reducing the need to reduce plastic and the need to create a closed system where we take the same plastic and we recycle over and again so that we do not have to introduce more plastic. Because, you know, there are pros and cons to even the bioplastics.
So instead of discarding it, reforming it into something else that's useful that continues to be used after the original use.
That's right, and you know, bioplastic can be recycled. Most of it. You know, it depends on the design, but yeah, it can be recycled. And then there's not very much of it on the market, but there is. Compostable plastics where you can compost it in your backyard, for instance. But generally speaking, that is not as accessible in products as the other kinds.
Well, you know, the problem with that is I don't plan on keeping this house for the next 1,000 years.
No?
No, and by the time I compost that plastic, I'm going to be a dead man.
So it's not your problem. Is that what you're saying?
No, it is my problem because I'd be leaving it here for my kids and my grandkids and for posterity. I like the idea of recycling it and reconstituting it into a useful product rather than discarding it and ruining the world.
Well, yes. I hear you on that, and I think we're a long way from getting to that place. And right now, the United States and the world relies heavily on landfills. And the nature of landfills is that will never break down because they don't want chemicals to leach into the water table. So our landfills, it's there for thousands of years. That's what it's designed to do.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't think using landfills.
Well, it's interesting. It's interesting, Suzette, because at one time, I used to really love the idea of landfills because, you could go to a landfill after it had already been fully filled and utilized, and they turned it into arboretums and these beautiful gardens and all these things with all this rich soil that is a result of that. But today, with all the plastics and other things that you're putting in there that don't break down, they're probably not able to do that any longer, are they?
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. I quite agree. So, Mr. Cardoza, you've completely dismantled my argument.
I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't know there was an argument there. I was just...
There is. This was headed a direction. And so...
Well, you know me. You know that I'm inquisitive, and you know that I am outspoken, and and you had to know that I was going to start asking questions about this stuff.
Well, I had to go and encourage a conversation in the last. Let's talk about the bioplastics. There's one very popular one. It's called PLA, or polylactic acid, and and it's biodegradable. But what's interesting about that, or notable, is that it requires humidity and high temperatures to degrade the plastics. So a cup or a bag will only biodegrade with certainty in an industrial composting facility. So that's the word I was trying to find there. An industrial composting facility would be necessary, and the problem is we don't have enough in the world to compost bioplastics. So we're really not ready to introduce bioplastics into our society because we don't have an end-of-use plan. Our industrial composting facilities are far and few between. So we sort of need to stay with what we currently have.
Well, so let's talk about that for just a second, Suzette. We've got let's see here. We've got 2 minutes before we have to take a commercial break. It seems to me that, and you and I have talked about this many times over, about the horrendous effect that plastics are having not only on our oceans but on our environment and the earth. If paper is biodegradable, why don't we just go back to the paper milk cartons and using paper for these things as opposed to using plastic? If plastic is so horrendous for our environment, what's wrong with this? This is not an advancement.
Oh, you know what, Robert? I'm curious. I mean, in your day when you had plastic milk cartons,
we had paper. We had paper.
Or waxed papered cartons.
Yeah.
Or waxed cartons.
Yeah.
How did you keep it from melting? I know the milk was on the refrigerator.
It really never melted. I mean, and here's the thing. In my day, we had milkmen who actually were in trucks and stuff like that, and they would deliver not just milk.
Glass.
They would deliver in paper cartons. And they would deliver the paper cartons of milk, and they'd deliver eggs and all kinds of bread and all kinds of things. And it never got hot enough to melt it. it seemed to me, I mean, you know, that stuff, even right now, it's 80 degrees outside. Even when it was 100 degrees outside, it really wouldn't melt a milk carton. And most of the time, when you were getting those kind of deliveries and things, you knew that it was being delivered generally in the morning. It wasn't an afternoon kind of thing, and you knew to pick it up. The other thing is how much of this is actually being produced by delivery and how much of this is being produced because you go to the grocery store and pick it up. It's only got to make the trip from the grocery store to your home.
Right. I agree. I want to do a show on how things used to be done.
Oh, that would be interesting. Let's continue that thought because we've got to take a commercial break, Suzette. But I think that would be a fantastic show. We're talking to our own Suzette Mailer. We're talking about biodegradable plastics and non-biodegradable plastics. And we'll continue this conversation right after these brief messages. Do not go away. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Suzette Mailer. We're talking about biodegradable plastics right now. And before we went on our break, you actually brought up a subject that you'd love to talk about next week, and I'd love to talk to you about it. The unfortunate thing is when you bring up subjects like this, it's because you think I am older than dirt and I have a personal memory of this stuff. But I would love to talk about how it used to be.
Well, next week we have a guest from NASA.
Oh.
So, and I'll talk about her towards the end of this segment.
Okay.
I'll introduce what's coming up next week. But how about the week after?
That sounds good.
We'll talk about how things were done in the old days. The book by Charlie Moore, the sea captain who discovered the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, wrote a book called Plastic Ocean, and he has a wealth of information in there, from the roots of oil, and remember when rubber had a funny smell?
Yeah.
And how it finally developed into plastic and good quality rubber. He talks about that. And then he talks about how things used to be done. So we'll talk about that in a couple of weeks. But, in this segment, what I want you to take away from this program is that bioplastic needs special handling, and and it requires industrial-grade composting, or it can go in the backyard. However, if it lands in a regular city recycling plant, it can contaminate the whole batch of recycling, rendering it useless. And so because of these complications, claims of biodegradability by manufacturers are not usually followed by explicit instructions on how to properly make these plastics biodegrade. So I think it's really important for we citizens to educate ourselves on our local recycling plant and what it's looking for as far as sorting.
Wouldn't it be interesting? Because I wonder how many people. I know I do. I'm pretty certain you do. I know my kids do. But I wonder what percentage of people in the community actually recycle. And they'll put their trash in one barrel, their glass in another barrel, their grass cuttings and leaves and things in another barrel. And I'm wondering what percentage of society does that, or do a large percentage of them say, oh, that's too much trouble. That's an inconvenience. I'm not doing it. Any idea?
I do not have an idea of that, Robert, but I can tell you, like the city of Newport Beach, they don't do any sorting at the bins. It all goes to the city, and the city sorts it. And some cities have these huge sorting plants where they have conveyor belts and it kind of shakes and rocks and rolls, and it sorts by weight, by size, and then it goes through another sorter, and it gets distributed that way, and then I think humans comb through it at the very end. But it's a very impressive process, and that's another good topic for another show. I plan to cover that.
Yeah, I'd find that interesting. I know that where I live, we all have 4 trash cans. They're all for different things, right? I call them trash cans, but there's. You
do. We only have 2.
Oh, really?
We have our dirty trash, and then we have our recycle bin, and we just throw everything in there, and then the city sorts it. But again, they've got these huge conveyor belts that, and we're talking, maybe 10 feet wide, and trash is dumped and sorted through there. So, but we had, the earth just really isn't ready for all this plastic. The fast food chains have, they're looking for more money and entering new markets, and unfortunately, they're entering the developing countries. And the developing countries, especially small islands, they just don't have the facilities to process the trash. So they do, without an end-of-use plan,
So what happens when you it's interesting you say that, because that's really an interesting subject. You have all of these chains that are developing or actually growing and developing their companies overseas and in small countries, big countries, all over the place. And what they're taking with them is the same issue, the same problems, and that is that they're going to have a proliferation of this non-biodegradable byproduct that they put their products into, because it's cheap and it's easy for them to use and it accommodates them, but it's hurting the environment.
Well, they do not go into these situations with an end-of-use plan in many instances. And an end-of-use plan is key to solving our problem. Even in America, we really don't have a good end-of-use plan for single-use plastics. And so, it's definitely not sustainable. But the good news is there are people trying to solve this problem. And it doesn't, it does not come without problems. So, for instance, in some of these small islands, they collect the bottles, and then to employ people, they have invested in plants where they can recycle those bottles into clothing. So we have clothing out on the market that is cotton plastic bottle blend. It's a cotton plastic blend. And but the problem, and that's great, it employs people. They found a use for that trash, but the problem is, what they've discovered is, every time you wash your clothes, pieces of about 19 to 2,000 micro pieces of plastic break off, and it goes down the washing machine drain, and our sewer plants are not equipped to capture it, so guess where it goes?
Yep.
It goes into the ocean, and so they're seeing it in fish. Can you imagine all the cheap T-shirts that we own and we wash? Every time you wash them, they estimate about 2,000 micro pieces of plastic enter the ocean. And then
that fish winds up eating it, and then we wind up eating the fish, and we wind up ultimately getting that plastic in our own bodies.
Right. Yeah. So, hey, I'm going to switch subjects. Did you hear about the whale that was entangled in plastic in netting? Off of Palos Verdes.
Yeah, wasn't that you that told me about that?
No, this is the third time in 2 months.
Oh, I mean, it's just recent?
News.
Just recent?
Yes.
Oh, no, I didn't hear it. I did not hear about it.
So, they haven't been able to find it. And so I saw pictures of it. I saw it was blue netting. And now I'm from San Pedro, which is a fishing village. There are fishing boats there. I only know San Diego has fishing boats, Monterey has fishing boats, and San Francisco, right? Would you say? I don't think there are any fishing boats between Monterey and San Pedro that I'm aware of. Maybe Santa Barbara does. Okay, so we're about 200 miles away from each other and a piece. And so I decided to drive down to the docks and go look at the piles of fishing net along the docks. And I found only one operator with the same blue netting, and the boats were not there. And so I wrote NOAA about it. NOAA Fisheries. What is it? What does NOAA stand for? National
Oceanographic. I don't know.
Yeah. So sorry about that. I don't have my notes in front of me, and I wrote them about that. So we'll see if anything comes of it. But there was only one operator, because the fishermen, they pile their netting, and but I have this great idea, Robert. I think that they should require the fishermen to label their nets in several spots, maybe, and that way, and on that label should be the registered name of their boat, and that way.
Well, why not just put why not stamp serial numbers in a number of places on the net? It'd be easy enough to do, or tag them, and then that way they'd know who bought the net. And
the point is labeling them so that we can hold somebody responsible.
Right.
And even put some GPS in various spots so that it can be found. And with that GPS, we can help. Well, first of all, I want to say that the boat operators can be fined for not collecting that net, because a lot of times if it's stuck on something, they'll just cut it and abandon it. It's called derelict fishing gear, derelict netting.
Mm-hmm.
And but if they held them accountable, they'll I think stay and tend to business and collect the netting so that our sea life are not getting caught in it. So,
well, let me ask you this, because I mean, and this all makes a lot of sense. But as far as these issues that are taking place, I'm guessing that cruise ships and fishermen and boaters, they're creating the problems at the ocean, but this problem certainly exists on land as well. Is it the fact that we don't hear about it in other places because the largest offenders are seagoing people?
So what's your question?
My question is, who are the largest offenders of these plastics and these nettings and these things like that? I mean, that's got to be seagoing people. Nets have got to be seagoing people.
That is the derelict fishing gear.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, the fishing boats and lobster traps and crab traps. That's all a problem. There was one that they finally dealt with, and I think they found 20 sea lions in there. Dead sea lions. I saw 3 porpoise caught entangled in some netting, and they had drowned.
In discarded netting.
Discarded, derelict netting floating out there. So, there are nonprofit organizations that go out there and they collect that netting.
Mm-hmm.
And thank goodness for them. And they're all around. It's all over Hawaii and along our California coast. But I think that GPS and labeling would go a long way to fix that problem. And so I wrote to NOAA about that, and hopefully, maybe they'll do something.
Why? It makes you wonder why. I've been on more cruises than I can count. I've been all over the world on cruise ships of different sizes, and I'm beginning to think they must take routes that don't take them near any of these garbage areas, dump areas, because I've never seen that. Wouldn't it be interesting if a cruise ship were to find itself right in the middle of one of these places?
Well, that would have to be on purpose, because they have charts and they know exactly what they're doing. And the area where the gyre is at is called the doldrums,
mm-hmm.
and of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. And there's no wind there. Nobody ever goes through there because there's no wind. It's uninteresting. It's hot.
Yeah.
And it's just a natural gyre where the currents, bring the trash to that area.
Yeah, you have to be headed there, otherwise there's no reason to be there.
Right. It's nobody goes through it. So, shall I introduce next week's guest?
Yes, yes, please, because we got 1 minute left.
This is Dr. Cynthia E. Rosenzweig, and she is a senior research scientist at NASA Goddard Institute for Space Studies, and she is co-director of the Urban Climate Change Research Network, UCCRN. Wow. It's very impressive, and it's a science. They're working with cities. It's science-based assessment to address climate risks for cities, adaptation mitigation, and policy mechanisms to help cities prepare for climate change, because climate change is real.
Boy, you know what? That's going to be a fascinating show. I'm looking forward to it, Suzette.
Right. So that's next week, same time, same place.
That's going to be wonderful. Hey, listen, this was an interesting show. I really enjoyed it. I hope you don't mind me asking. You know me, I'm inquisitive. I ask lots of questions.
Well, actually, you know what? I want to give you an update on that whale. There is no update, but I looked at that netting, mm-hmm. and I looked at the whale in the video. You can watch the whale in the video if you type in Palos Verdes and the whale, if anybody mm-hmm. is interested. But I think that that whale was breaching the water over and over again. It was so agitated. Mm-hmm. It was remarkable that I think that because of its weight, it was a humpback whale. I bet it could have broken up that netting with every pounding.
Oh, you would certainly think so. Anyway, darling, we're over time. We got to go. You had a fascinating show today. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it, and I know that everybody else did too.
Good. Thank you.
And I look forward to talking to you next week. I think NASA is going to be fantastic.
Yep. Until next week.
All
Goodbye,
right.
everyone.
Stay safe. Make everybody's life better because you're in it, will you?
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Now, we'll be right back with the happy birthdays for the day, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:41 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 80 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, it's going to go on all the way down to 59. I can't hardly wait for that. But, well, you know what? You know what today is, don't you? Sure you do. It is Tuesday, October the 20th, and it is somebody's birthday. And here we go for the birthdays today. There's a guy that most everybody knew. He was born in 1925, died in 2007. A humorist best known for his long-running column that he wrote in the Washington Post. It was Happy Birthday to Art Buchwald. He was a really interesting guy. And here's somebody, but boy, I'll tell you what, he lived a fast life. He was born in 1950. Songwriter, singer, and the frontman for Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Tom Petty. And finally, here's one that you gotta wonder where some of these people got their names, right? A young fellow was born in 1971, Grammy Award nominated American rapper, record producer, and actor, best known as an MC in the hip hop scene. Happy birthday to Snoop Dogg. Yep, that was it. Now, can you imagine? Well, you can't. Never mind. So let's talk about what happened today in history. Well, on October 20th, 1955, publication of The Return of the King, being the very last part of The Lord of the Rings, was actually done. And in 1968, former First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy marries Greek shipping tycoon Aristotle Onassis. And then finally, in 1977, a plane carrying Leonard Skinner crashes in Mississippi, killing lead singer Ronnie Van Zant and guitarist Steve Gaines, along with backup singer Casey Gaines, the road manager, pilot, and co-pilot. Well, the quote for today comes from John Burroughs, and John says, "I still find each day too short for all of the thoughts that I want to think, all of the walks that I want to take, all of the books that I want to read, and all of the friends that I want to see." Wow, how prolific is that? How wonderful is that? Gee whiz. Well, let's talk about the secret daily teaching for your life. And the secret today is, how do you become more aware? Well, one way is to stop and ask yourself, what am I thinking now? What am I feeling now? The moment you ask, you are aware, because you have brought your mind back to the present moment. Think about it. You're in control of everything that goes on in your life. Just the way that it happens to be, guys. Just the way that it happens to be. Now, we're going to talk about the, I don't know why I keep having this problem with this one little program that doesn't want to come out and do the things that I want it to do. There we go. Let's talk about the Harvard Business Tip of the day. The management tip today is, overcome the midday slump. You know what that is, right? We've all had it. Doing your best work requires focus and energy, but it's hard to stay focused for 8 hours straight. How can you feel more energized throughout the workday? Well, try this. Tailor your tasks to your energy. Most people are at their best in mid-morning and late afternoon. Organize your to-do list around these peaks and valleys. And get up and move. Any kind of physical movement will boost your alertness and energy levels. Take a brisk walk around the block. Walk up some stairs or stretch at your desk. All of that's going to help you. How about meditating? Mindfulness exercises are a great way to engage in restoration during the day. Even Steve Jobs swore by that. And don't rely on caffeine. Rather than giving you more energy, coffee masks the effect of low energy levels. Use it strategically, like ahead of a big meeting. And then finally, here's the big one. Get more sleep. It's the number one predictor of success. Getting the right amount of sleep. Well, it is time for our interesting but useless facts. Let's get them going. I'm never going to run out of these things. So far I've given you in the last month or so about 173 of them, and I still have about 12,000 of them that I can give you. So let's move on along with them. Did you know the average bed contains over 6 billion dust mites? Where are you sleeping tonight? Give that some thought. How about this? Did you know that the average person's skin weighs twice as much as their brain? Now, there's a thought for you. Yeah, that is a thought when you think about it. Try this one on for size. Did you know that poor eyesight, that's myopia, is associated with a higher IQ? Oh, I'm going to remember that. I've got to justify that one. How about this? According to an old English system of time units, a moment is 1.5 minutes. That's a moment. Did you know that? Yeah, there it is. Here's one for you. The largest great white shark ever caught measured 37 feet and weighed 24,000 pounds. It was found in a herring weir in New Brunswick in 1930. The harmless whale shark holds the title of largest fish, with the record being a 59-footer captured in Thailand in 1919. Now give that one some serious thought. Big. Just the sight of that would probably give me a heart attack if you think about it. Yeah. Well, did you know the largest man-made lake in the United States is Lake Mead, created by Hoover Dam? Yep, there we go. And let's see here. Did you know the common goldfish is the only animal that can see both infrared and ultraviolet light? There's a talent. Don't know what good it does it, but there's a talent for you. And the first interracial kiss on television took place on November the 22nd, 1968, between Captain James T. Kirk, that's William Shatner, and Lieutenant Uhura Nicole Nichols, on an episode of Star Trek. Yeah. Now, did you know newborn babies have 350 bones? By age 5, the amount of bones merges to 206. Give that some thought. Now, don't go away, because when we come back, we're going to be talking about the emails I'm going to answer for you today. The first email I've got to answer for you today is about Social Security tax, and I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away, folks.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live, and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses: website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Dental Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics, where it's 4:52 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 80 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, he's waiting in the wings. My good buddy John Matthews is going to tell us all about his show tonight. I want to remind you that John broadcasts Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific time. His show is The Conservative Syndicate, and you know what? It's everything you wanted to know about conservatism, and he's going to tell you the truth about what's going on. He's really a fact finder when it comes to the misgivings of both sides, whether it be the conservatives or the liberals, and you want to listen to his show. And he's got an interesting show. It's actually a series going on this week. So, hey, John, tell us about what's going on with your show this week.
Well, we're going to continue the series that we started last night. Last night we went into, we're trying to explain to our listening public what democratic socialism really is. And we started the series last night by talking about some textbook definitions, defined what socialism is, Marxism, communism, how they're all kind of the same means to an end. We went from there into pulling a Q&A survey that's actually off the Democratic Socialists of America website. And from there, they attempt to explain what democratic socialism is. So we're going to continue that tonight, and hopefully if we get through that, we're going to start naming the members of Congress that are actually card-carrying members of the Democratic Socialists of America, a political party, an actual political party.
And they don't readily publicize that, do they?
I'm sorry?
They don't readily publicize the fact that they are democratic socialists, do they?
Oh, yes. It's well known in political circles. It's not unknown to the general public. But some of these people, when you'll recognize their names, you know who they are. Some of them actually serve as chair people, vice chairman on the board and everything else. So we're going to lay that all out for our listeners.
Well, John, it's going to be a great show. I'm going to be tuning in. I'll be on your show tomorrow night. We'll be talking a little bit briefly before then. I want to remind everybody that John's show, The Conservative Syndicate, airs every Monday through Wednesday from 5 to 7 p.m. It'll be on right after this show today. Easiest way to listen to his show, go to his website at theconservativesyndicate.net and just punch the little button that says Listen Live. He's syndicated. He's on a lot of stations worldwide, so that's really the easiest way to get him. Hey, John, have a great show tonight. We'll talk to you a little bit later.
Okay, take care.
All right, buddy. Now, let's talk about right now, I need to answer your emails, and, I do that every day. I want to remind you that this is an entertainment section of the show, and we do our best to give you good, comprehensive answers to your questions. But, sometimes the information that you send us is just a little bit sketchy. And so we always encourage you to contact a licensed professional. They're going to always interview you, get all of the information necessary to give you a good, comprehensive legal answer to your question. The nice part about it is they generally save you a lot more money than they cost you, and they're going to give you peace of mind. And that's the biggest part about what's going on. You get to sleep at night because they have errors and omissions insurance. Same thing as malpractice insurance. If they make a mistake in the advice they give you, they pay the piper, not you. Keep that in mind. Well, my email today comes from Juan Pablo Estrada from Mishawaka, Indiana, asking about Social Security tax and says, I just lost my job. Can I keep paying Social Security tax voluntarily while I'm unemployed to prevent my Social Security benefits from being reduced? Well, you know what, Juan Pablo? The answer to your question is no. Moreover, your Social Security benefits are not based on the amount of taxes that you pay, but on the amount of your earnings, specifically your level of earnings in your last 35 highest earning working years. So it is possible that your period of unemployment will not affect your future benefits at all. Now, to learn more about the Social Security benefits formula, get the free publication, Your Retirement retirement benefit, how it is figured, in the publication section of the Social Security Administration's website at www.ssa.gov, or give them a call at 800-772-1213. Hopefully that helps you, Juan Pablo. And my next email comes from Notion Farine from Elrea, Ohio, asking about a tuition deduction, and says, I'm a police officer. If I go to law school at night, can I deduct my tuition as a business expense since it helps me better apply the law? Well, Notion, the answer to your question is no. Education generally is deductible if it improves your skills in your current line of work, but not if it qualifies you to enter into a new profession. Now, obtaining a law degree qualifies one to practice a new profession as a lawyer, so the cost of obtaining such a degree generally is not deductible as a business expense. But there are tax breaks for education. Law school studies may qualify you to claim the lifetime learning credit or the tuition and fees deduction, student loan interest deduction, and many other breaks as well. But always, always, always check to make sure that you're getting all the breaks that you're supposed to get. There's a lot of things that you need to talk to a licensed professional that might be an exception to that rule. Now, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, Roar, 1776 Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide every Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time, and on 405 Media Radio Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, Podomatic, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. It's where I get all the emails I deal with here on my show. Now, on my next show tomorrow, going to be Joel Saltzman, Dr. Wireless, talking about new wireless technology, and Ray Mailer will be here continuing his series, The American Grid. I encourage you to tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I enjoyed producing it for you. Don't forget to join me again tomorrow for another installment of Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics at 3 p.m. Pacific Time. In the meantime, stay safe, stay happy, be good, make everybody's life that you touch better because you're in it. Good night, everybody.